word meaning. Nati, not excess affection. Prasanga, close association. Sorry, na, not ati sneha, excess affection. Prasanga, close association. Va, or kartavya, one should manifest. Kwapi, ever. Kenachit, with anyone or anything. Kurvan, so doing. Vindet, one will experience. Santapam, great distress. Kapota, a pigeon. Eva, just as. Dinadhi, cripple minded. Translation and purport by disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Disciples of Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. One should never indulge in excessive affection or concern for anyone or anything. Otherwise, one will have to experience great suffering, just like the foolish pigeon. Purport. The Sanskrit prefix ati or excessive indicates affection or attachment in which there is no Krishna consciousness. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 5.29, Suradam Sarvabhutanam. The Lord is eternal, well-wisher of every living being. The Lord is so affectionate that He sits in the heart of every conditioned soul and accompanies him throughout his endless wanderings in the kingdom of Maya, patiently waiting for the conditioned soul to come back home, back to Godhead. Thus, Lord makes all arrangements for the eternal happiness of every living entity. The best way for anyone to show compassion and affection for all living beings is to become preacher on behalf of Lord Krishna and assist the Lord in reclaiming the fallen souls. If our affection or attachment for others is based on bodily sense gratification in the name of society, friendship, and love, that excessive, unwanted affection, ati sneha, will cause burning pain at the time of the breaking or destruction of the relationship. Now, the story of the foolish pigeon will be narrated. A similar story is described in 7th canto, 2nd chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, told by Yamraj to the mourning widows of King Suyagya. Omajnana timirandasya gananjana shalakaya chakshurun militam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padagamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamsha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nidhi Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyanta Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gaura Tushe Nama. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishamanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Nilachala Nivasaya Nityaya Paramatmane Balbhadra Subhadrabhyam Jagannathaya Te Numa Mancha Kalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Paditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Nama. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you everybody for being present for today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. I seek blessings of all devotees assembled here so that I can speak something for my own purification. Here we are discussing from the chapter Lord Krishna instructs Uddhava. We see that Krishna has made plan to depart from this world and go back to spiritual world after winding his all pastimes here. And when Uddhava comes to know about this plan, Uddhava is very deeply pained, and he also wants to go with Krishna back home to spiritual world, but Krishna wants him to stay back, and he instructs him that he should take sannyas and he should wander throughout the world but remain untouched by the material contamination and be very compassionately disposed to all living beings. So when he was given this instruction, Uddhava said that yes, this renunciation is wonderful, it's most auspicious thing, but it's extremely difficult for conditioned soul because of attachment to sense gratification. So he said, if you can give me some instruction by which I can be able to live life in renounced order as you wanted without being contaminated, at the same time compassionate, that would be great. And then Krishna starts speaking him about conversation between Avadhut Brahmana and Maharaj Yadu. So when Maharaj Yadu was traveling, he saw that there was a person, Avadhuta. He was appearing like a ghostly haunted person. From material point of view, he was looking crazy. But he was in great ecstasy. And because Yadu was also a great personality, he could understand he is not an ordinary crazy man. He is transcendentally crazy man. So then he asked this Avadhut Brahmana that what is secret of your ecstasy? How is that you are living, though you are very learned, very educated, you are living in such a situation undetected by materialistic people. Then we see that Avadhut Brahmana, which Acharya has explained, is actually Dattatreya, which is incarnation of Lord. So he says that I have received various instructions from my various gurus, and by that I have become liberated. And because of being liberated, I am traveling around the world without being attached to these things and getting disturbed by these things. And he talks about his 24 gurus, like earth, mountain, trees, wind, fire, so many different sun, moon, and then one of the gurus is talking about his pigeon. And in today's verse, we see from now onwards, Avadhut Brahma will start talking about what he learned from pigeon. So you can all repeat this translation of this verse. One should never indulge in excessive affection or concern for anyone or anything. Otherwise, we'll have to experience great suffering, just like the foolish pigeon. So, Avanti Brahmana now from here onwards will start telling the story of foolish pigeon and how he learned this lesson that one should not be excessively attached, too much attached for anyone or anything in this world. And in purport, very nicely it is mentioned Let me see the purport. Here, what is meaning of excessive attachment? So here it is said that excessive attachment means in which there is no Krishna consciousness. So when we read purport, things become more clear. So here it is said that excessive attachment means attachment where there is no Krishna consciousness. Material attachment. When person becomes material attached, generally he becomes blind, and then he cannot understand things properly. Then he doesn't understand what is good for others and what is good for himself. And then he acts, speaks and thinks in a way which is not beneficial for either others or himself. And that too much attachment destroys one's life and others' lives also. So, yes, attachment has to be there. We cannot live without attachment. But that attachment has to be for real thing, real person. So we have to be attached to Krishna, and we have to be attached to living entities who are parts and parts of Krishna, in relation with Krishna. But because of ignorance, person thinks himself to be body and thinks others to be body. And instead of being attached to Krishna or the spirit soul, Atma, one becomes attached to the body. And that attachment to the body is actually cause of great problems. So it's not attachment per se. We have to be attached. Attachment is there. Attachment has to be there. But we have to be attached to Krishna. We have to have spiritual attachments, not material attachments. Material attachments are based on ignorance, thinking oneself to body, thinking others to be body. So, and so we see in 7th canto as well as now how the Brahma, both of them are talking about the story of Pijan. In 7th canto we see when Hiranyaksha is killed, and all the demons, they are in very miserable state, especially family members of Hiranyaksha. Diti, the mother of Hiranyaksha, and wife of Hiranyaksha. They were in so miserable state. And when Hiranyakashipu saw it, he then spoke transcendental words of wisdom to pacify them. And then he told the story of Suyagya. There was a king called, in the province of Ushinara, there was a king called Suyagya. And how in the battlefield he was killed. And when he got killed, all the wives came, and when they saw this king in that condition, they all started crying, and they all started speaking that, oh, how can we live without this, oh my dear husband, and all these things, no? So I'll just read. When the queens of the king of Ushinar saw their husband lying in that position, they began crying, "Oh Lord, now that you have been killed, we also have been killed." Repeating these words again and again, they fell down, pounding their breast at the feet of the dead king. As the queens loudly cried, their tears glided down their breast, becoming reddened by kumkum powder, and fell upon the lotus feet of their husband. Their hair became disarrayed, their ornaments fell, and in a way that evoked sympathy from the hearts of others, the queens began lamenting their husband's death. While queens were lamenting for the dead body of the king, their loud cries were heard even from the abode of Yamraj. Assuming the body of a boy, Yamraj personally approached the relatives of the dead body and advised them. So queens, they were crying. Is it bad to cry when person leaves the body? It's natural to cry. It's nothing bad about it. But what is problem is when we consider this person is this body itself. And when think that this now body is dead, everything's finished. So thinking like that is problem. But when we understand, oh, this body is just covering. A person is soul, and soul is not dead. Soul is eternal. Soul has just passed to another body. So in that, in both cases, one may lament. But once lamentation, ignorance is like one laments. We have full experience that hundreds and thousands of living entities have taken birth and died. Thus, they should understand that they also are apt to die, yet still they are bewildered. The conditioned soul comes from unknown place and returns after death to that same unknown place. There is no exception to this rule, which is conducted by material nature. Knowing this, why do you uselessly lament? It is wonderful that these elderly women do not have the higher sense of life than we do. Indeed, we are most fortunate, for although we are children and have been left to struggle in material life unprotected by father and mother, although we are very weak, we have not been vanquished or eaten by ferocious animals. Thus, we have firm belief that the Supreme Person Godhead, who has given us protection, even in the womb of mother, will protect us everywhere. So, this his Yamaraj is telling as a small boy that just see, these people are so attached. They are not having higher sense of life. We are children. We are having that sense. Just see, we are not protected by mother, father, but still we are not eaten by ferocious animal. We are protected by Supreme Lord. We are protected by Supreme Lord in the womb of mother, and now also we are protected. And this, the boy started speaking further. Oh, weak women, only by the will of Supreme Person Godhead, who is never diminished, is the entire world created, maintained, and again annihilated. This is the verdict of Vedic knowledge. This material creation, consisting of moving and non-moving, is exactly like his plaything. Being the Supreme Lord, he is completely competent to destroy and protect. So understand, ultimately everything is happening by Supreme Lord. And living it is just being traveling under direction of Lord. So it's not that death is end of the life. Why are lamenting? Then further he says, sometimes one loses his money on a public street where everyone can see it, and yet his money is protected by destiny and not seen by others. Sometimes money is lost in the street and one can get back the money back. Have you ever seen like that happening? Public, sometimes, no? Yesterday I was hearing one person, he's telling, he went to park, he forgot his laptop and everything. Again, and night he remembered, and then next day he went, he got it. Sometimes, it may so happen that very valuable things we lose at public place, but we may get it. Thus, the man who lost it gets it back. On the other hand, if the Lord does not give protection, even money maintained very securely at home in lock and key is lost. We may put so much protection for money, but from home in locker, the money can be stolen by thieves. No? So if Supreme Lord gives one protection, even though one has no protector and is in the jungle, one remains alive. Whereas a person well protected at home by relatives and others sometimes dies, no one being able to protect him. So this life and death, what is it? Krishna wants to Mare Krishna, Rake Krishna. If Krishna wants to protect, who can kill? And if Krishna wants to take away, which doctor or which medicine can protect? Nothing. Just as a household, although different from the identity of his house, thinks his house to be identical with him, so the conditioned soul, due to ignorance, accept the body to be himself. All the body is actually different from soul. This body is obtained through a combination of portions of earth, water and fire, and when earth, water and fire are transformed in course of time, the body is vanquished. The soul has nothing to do with this creation and dissolution body. Yamaraj continued, oh women, you are all fools. The person named Suyagya, for whom you lament, is still lying before you and has not gone anywhere. Then what is the cause for your lamentation? Previously he heard you and replied to you, but now, not finding him, you are lamenting. This is contradictory behavior, for you have never actually seen the person within the body who heard you and replied. There is no need for your lamentation. For the body you have always seen is lying here. He's saying, you are attached to this body, body is still there. Why you are lamenting? Or you are lamenting because somebody was hearing and responding to you. But actually you have never seen that person. You have never seen the soul. And now also you are not able to see. So, no, why are you lamenting? It is fruitless to see and talk to the material modes of nature and their resultant so-called happiness and distress as if they were factual. When the mind wanders during the day and the mind begins to think himself extremely important, or when he dreams at night and sees a beautiful woman enjoying with him, these are all merely false dreams. Similarly, the happiness and distress caused by material senses should be understood to be meaningless. All this, combination matter and all these things, material thing doesn't. And then Yamraj, who is as a small boy, he started telling the story of two birds. And similar story is now told by Avanti Brahmana. So Yamraj says, there was once a hunter who lured birds with food and captured them after spreading a net. He lived as if appointed by death personified as the killer of the birds. So, and then he started telling how the she-bird was caught in the net, and then he-bird came. He was so attached and he was crying, and then he was also caught. And in this way, both were taken by the hunter. So similarly, Yamaraja's small boy is saying, "Hey, you are crying, but you are not saying that your death is also coming." So if you are too attached to body, then you lose the valuable human form of life. So when we see somebody is dying or somebody is dead, we should prepare for our life properly. But sometimes people see others dying, but deep in heart they think, okay, maybe he has died, she has died, maybe I will not die. When Yudhishthira Maharaj was asked a question by Yaksha, what is the most amazing thing in this world? Yudhishthira Maharaj said, Ahani ahani bhutani gachanti yamalayam sheshastavaram icchanti kim ascharam ataparam. He says that at every moment we see so many people are going to Yamalaya, are dying, but still one thinks, I will not die. He thinks, maybe I will survive. And therefore one never prepares himself for his own death. And in this way, sometimes people just uselessly waste their life. So after hearing all this philosophy by Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha's wife Rushabhanu and mother Diti, all of them and all other were pacified. And then their final rites of Hiranyaksha was done. So here also we see that here Avanti, Avadut Brahmana is telling that one should not be very much attached materially to anyone or anything. Because this material attachment can blind us, and then we can forget the purpose of life, and then we may just spend time uselessly and go closer, waste our life and then just die. Forgetting that real purpose of life is to realize self, realize God, develop love for God, and go back to kingdom of God. So, Jai Shri Nitai Gauranga ki, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So, attachment we cannot give up, but that attachment we have to dovetail to Krishna and devotees of Krishna. And our attachment to Krishna should be greater than all the material attachment we have. We may be also attached to materialistic things, but our attachment to Krishna should be greater. Then we can use material things in service of Krishna. And otherwise, if you are blindly attached without any sense of Krishna consciousness, then we do harm for ourselves and others. We see Kardam Muni. he was doing so much tapasya because he was attached to his father and his instructions, and his father had told, you should get married and help me increasing the population. So he performed thousands of years of tapasya. And when Supreme Lord was pleased, he said, what do you want? He said, please give me wife, so that I can assist Brahmaji, my father, in service. And he said, no problem. 2 days from now, this Swayambhu Manu and Shatrupa will come with their daughter Devuti, and they will offer you Devuti in marriage, and she's very qualified, and both of you can have a Krishna conscious family life. And then we see Swayambhu Manu came along with Shatrupa, along with the daughter, and then Swayambhu Manu offered his daughter in marriage to Kardam Muni. But Kardam Muni said, okay, I am ready to marry, but with one condition. After I get children, then I will take sannyas and renounce family life. Is that okay? So then Swayambhu Manu looked at Shatrupa, his wife. Can we give our daughter to him? He is saying like that, no? And then Shatrupa looked at Devuti. Are you okay? This is the condition for marriage, no? And then she said, okay. Devuti said, okay. Then Shatrupa said, okay. And then Swayambhu Manu said, okay. So Kardam Muni was doing tapasya to get a wife, but he was very clear about his goal of life. Yes, it's a service. He understood, I have a service to increase the population in this world, and for that I need a wife, I need to have children, all this thing. But that is not the end of life. After doing that, ultimately I have to become firmly attached to Krishna. And purpose of service is to please Krishna, purpose of family is to serve Krishna. Everything is meant for Krishna consciousness. So, and we see Kardam Muni then married Devuti, and then after marriage immediately went in tapasya. And for so many years again he performed tapasya. And after that, then we see there was 9 daughters to Kardam Muni and Devuti. But when he got 9 daughters, then he said, now I am living. She said, oh, you are living, but these daughters will go in marriage somewhere. I will be unprotected. You please give me son. And later on we see Kardam Muni had a son, Kapil Dev himself, who is Supreme Lord, incarnation God. Actually, Kardama never asked Lord that I want you as my son. But it said, Lord was so pleased with Kardama and his devotion and his sincerity. He said, I want to be your son. He was so impressed by his bhakti that Lord himself wanted to be son of Kardam Muni. And then Lord appeared as Kapil Dev, son of Kardama. And then we see when Kapil Dev appeared, then he said, okay, bye-bye, Tata, Hare Krishna, no? And he left family. Can you imagine? Here his Lord is there at home. But still he left home, because it is said that Yad Yad Acharya Sheshtas Et Tatta Eva Tarujana. As a great person, one has set proper standards. So, okay, Brahmacharya life, Grahastha life, then Vanaprastha life. Then he wanted to set the example, and then he left. And he perfected lives. And then Kapil Dev took care of the mother Dehuti, also instructed. So people in Vedic life are very clear about Tattva. They are very clear that we are not this body, we are spirit, soul. And goal of life is not just sense gratification. Goal of life is self-realization. Goal of life is to have love for Krishna. And everything is meant for that purpose. So, yes, family is also required for purification, for helping us advance in Krishna consciousness. But that is not the end of life. That is not the whole and soul of life. So, one understands from material point of view, what is family? Family just like leaves of, sometimes leaves come together in water. and then next wave come and they're separated, never to meet again. Or sometimes sand particles come together and then wind blows and then sand particles separated, never to meet again. Or sometimes traveling people come together in a train, they're in for some time, maybe 8 hours, 10 hours, 24 hours, maybe 30 hours, maybe sometimes 46 hours long train journey. But after that, when destination comes, they go to different places. Or sometimes people come together in restaurant for eating, and they may be sitting on some same table. They talk few things, and then after eating they go. Everybody is coming with their own baggage of karma. And according to karma, some people are put together in one family. Somebody's mother, somebody's father, somebody's children, somebody's wife, somebody's all these things. So and everybody has their time, then they depart, like in railway station, different people, as their station comes, they get down. So not that the person who was sitting next, he got down, we also get down. We know our destination different, so so like that. So one who is in proper knowledge, when he sees that, okay, we had a nice relationship, and then person is getting down the station, he may also feel sorry that, oh, he's getting down, and it was such a wonderful person and such a wonderful relationship, what a wonderful association. But doesn't mean that he jumps from the train and doesn't go to his what is supposed destination. Similarly, devotee also have attachment, affection, but that affection is Krishna conscious. That doesn't override the purpose of life. That doesn't distract from the ultimate goal of life. Rather, that helps us in pursuing the goal of life. So, but if it doesn't know the purpose, and then one becomes, if one is not Krishna conscious, then one becomes blind, and then that blind attachment harms oneself and others. But in Krishna conscious attachments, that helps one another to advance in Krishna consciousness. Rather, when one is Krishna conscious in Krishna conscious family life, or even in devotee brahmacharya ashram, devotees have Krishna conscious relationships, it can help them to advance in bhakti, and it can help them because ultimately bhakti is cultivating one's love for Krishna. So by cultivating love for devotees, we can cultivate love for Krishna. But that love is based on knowledge, that love is based on keeping Krishna in the center, and love is based on service, not based on body, not based on ignorance, not based on sense gratification. So we see, when things are based on knowledge, then yes, one may feel pain, but one can move on forward in the journey of Krishna consciousness. Like Narad boy, his mother died. Naturally, it was very painful. But then he was an enlightened person because of association devotees. So he continued forward in his life. And then he thought, maybe it's Krishna's arrangement. Let me surrender to Krishna. And then he became a self-realized person. Chittaketu Maharaj, when he lost his son, he became so depressed, miserable. Even he was not ready to hear Narada Muni and Angira Muni. But unfortunately, he heard from his son Krishna's philosophy, and then he came to senses. And then, instead of just lamenting, he took shelter of Krishna and became great devotee. So, this is a very fine balance, attachment and affection. Not too much attached, and we can't be completely detached also. So, if we are so-called detached, sometimes one can be irresponsible in life, and sometimes then one cannot advance in bhakti, because one has to have some responsibility, one has to have some relationships, but that has to be Krishna conscious. Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam. If attached relationships and attachments are becoming pratikul, the one can give it up. But if it's Anukul, we should not. Like we say, at the same time, in name of Pratikul, we can't be irresponsible also. So, we see Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is, he had a family life and he had so many children, and so many of his children became great devotees, especially Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur's wife was a very Krishna conscious lady and children were Krishna conscious. So when his home was completely Krishna conscious. So very much. You see, in Prabhupada's life, Prabhupada tried to make his family members Krishna conscious. He struggled very hard. But then after he became 58, 60 and all, when he became actually old and he tried and still they were not, then finally, after doing his whole life actually, finally he took to Vanaprastha, then he took sannyas and moved forward. Not that till fag end of life, till last breath he was just attached to family. No, we do our part, but then we have to move forward in life. The ultimate purpose is Krishna consciousness. With the help of family, we can be Krishna consciousness. But if after 25, 30 years of serving in family, still family is not becoming Krishna conscious, then one can take to Vanaprastha. So it said one should enter the family life with the exit plan. Like Kardam Muni. He went to family life, but he had a plan, exit plan. And he had planned to be Krishna conscious, make his family Krishna conscious, and then also exit. And then come back to Godhead, which is our real purpose of life. Family life is, in material world, things are not so easy actually. So therefore one needs guidance. Like yesterday, Muktavandi Prabhu was telling, in life, so many challenges will come, which you cannot imagine now. You will have to go through so many things. But one thing is, he said, do not worry, because Krishna is Supreme Personal Godhead. Krishna will help you. If you keep on holding to lotus feet of Krishna, somehow there will be way out always. No matter how challenging, how difficult it will be. But it should not happen that we leave the lotus feet of Krishna at any cost. If we hold on to the lotus feet of Krishna, then everything can be reconciled, and ultimately, by Krishna's help, we can achieve perfection. So here, in today's purport, it is mentioned that best way for anyone to show compassion and affection for all living beings is to become a preacher on behalf of Lord Krishna and assist Lord in reclaiming the fallen souls. Yes, we want to be compassionate, we want to be affectionate. So the best way is be Krishna conscious self and help others be Krishna conscious and become instrument in the hands of Lord's compassion. That is the best thing. If our affection or attachment for others is based on bodily sense gratification, in name of society, friendship, love, that excessive unwanted affection will cause burning pain at the end of the breaking or destruction of the relationship. But a relationship will be broken either before death or at time of death. At time of death, either the other person dies or we die. The relation is broken. But spiritual relation continues beyond the body also, because it's on spiritual platform. So here Avadut Brahmana is telling that I have learned from pigeon that one should not be too much attached to family. Otherwise one will just suffer. And in purport it's mentioned too much attachments, being not attached to family without Krishna consciousness. So we should try ourselves to become Krishna conscious, and we should try our family members also to see how they can be Krishna conscious. So in that way we can spiritualize things. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Anybody has any comment, any question? We have few minutes. Yes, Rajiv Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for this wonderful class, Prabhu. Prabhu, I had a question that you mentioned that during death, so in family members, what happens that when someone leaves their body, so everyone you says that it's very natural to cry. But if you understand that this is not the last, it's not the last journey. The journey will continue. But sometimes we see that even if we hear all these things, we don't realize this, and we don't get proper realization, and still we think that this will not happen with me, and still that person gets more like feeling of suffering and everything, and that realization doesn't easily comes. Just I want to hear from you something you can share, like how this realization can be, what practices we should sincerely do so that this realization should come. Because I am asking this question because suddenly yesterday my mother called me and she told that her brother left his body, and she was crying so much. So I was trying to pacify her. So still, but she was crying so much, and then it's very like she's also like she's chanting, doing some bhakti. But even all this philosophy, all this process we are doing, but that realization, it's very difficult to get. So how we can do?
So crying is not bad. It's natural, as I said. This we see when Arjuna heard the news, Abhimanyu's killed in battlefield. When he came, he was just crying loudly. He just heard Bhagavatam from Krishna, and when he heard that Abhimanyu, his son, is dead, he was crying. So natural, it's natural to have that affection and natural to cry. We can't be artificial, be hard-hearted. And if we are hard-hearted, then we are not fit for bhakti. So we have to have a soft heart. Naturally, the crying. But it should not be the end of the life, Like it's not that now so-and-so has dead, it's finished. No, one should know. It's very painful. But now still we can do something for them. So therefore we see whenever a person passes, we have daily satsanga. Daily there is classes on Bhagavatam, and people hear katha 13 days or 14 days, whatever, every day hearing and chanting. By hearing and chanting, what happens? Heart gets pacified, and the soul, because the departed soul generally takes time for him to go to the next generation. He's there, he also hears, and because everybody hears and chants and prays, then they are purified, and the departed soul also gets benefit. So there is hearing, chanting, Harinam Sankirtan, then there's prasadam. Then we see after 13 days or something, Shraddha is done, whatever. They offered prasad to the deities, and deities prasad is offered to the departed soul. So you get benefited, and then others also take prasad, so they get benefited. And then one continues understanding it's the will of Lord. What can we do? We are dependent on Lord. We may want that person to be here, but if Krishna wants him or her to be somewhere else, we accept Krishna's will. Materialist people will blame Krishna, blame providence. Like we see Chitaketu's wife, Krutaditi, when her son died, her shoka, she became so wild, and she started criticizing providence. What foolish providence you are, you don't know. So materialist people may criticize God, criticize providence, and because of their material attainment. But devotees understand ultimately it's Krishna's arrangement, so they accept it. And it may be painful, but by hearing, chanting, session devotees, and then slowly, one is able to pacify oneself and one continues further in one's path. Like Arjuna was very miserable, painful, and then gradually he understood ultimately it's Krishna's arrangement. So he accepted it, and then next day again he went for fight. It was not that he gave up fighting and sat at home only. No. So yes, we may lament, we may have pain, and maybe 10 days, 15 days, and then again we continue our journey because as here our Yamaraj is telling, Hani Hani Bhutani, that life is everybody dying. We also may die, so we have to prepare ourselves. Yudhishthira Maharaj is telling. So yes, and we are grateful whoever comes in our lives, and we are grateful that they helped us in Krishna consciousness. And to help them also, we continue our Krishna consciousness. By our being Krishna conscious, it will help others, help ourselves. And then ultimately, if we go back home, back to God, they will also go back home, back to God. Then on spiritual platform, in spiritual world, we can have eternal relationship. Ultimately, what we need? We want eternal relationships. We don't need temporary relation. And eternal relations are possible when we get purified and go back home, back to Godhead. So if you are really concerned, you want to meet him or her, then go to spiritual world. Because if you go to spiritual world and they are attached to you, you are attached to them, they will also go to spiritual world. And then in spiritual world, you can have permanent relationship. As far as material world is concerned, this make and break will keep on happening. So yes, we are attached to our family members, near and dear ones, but our attachment to Guru and Krishna should be higher. And therefore, we should take instructions of Guru and Krishna and continue our life. And in that actually, there will be transcendent joy plus pain also. When devotees live, body is not like materialistic living body. Like I remember one time, maybe 2011, 12, something like that. I was in Mayapur, and morning time I heard announcement that one proper disciple is leaving the body. So myself and Vallabh were there. So we said, let's go, and at least because let's go and chant for him. So we went, but we are not knowing where he stays. We only knew that he stays in Grahastha housing area. So we were walking in that direction, and when we went to Grahastha housing area, we started hearing kirtans. So we understood it must be his home only. So we just followed the kirtan. When we went, it was so intense kirtans were going on. And daughter of that Prabhu who was leaving the body, he was chanting the kirtans, And there were many proper disciples and many senior devotees were there. And his wife was there at the head, like he was lying at the head of his wife was there. And whole room was decorated like spiritual world only. And just from his eyes, he could, there was a big Garuda. And it was written back home, back to Godhead, that Garuda with, and everywhere Radha Madhavs and beautiful pictures were there. And atmosphere was so intense, Krishna conscious, very amazing. And devotees were feeling pain, at the same time they were ecstatic. And I remember some devotees were doing massage of Prabhuji. So I requested, can I do massage? So then they said, okay. Then I started massaging his feet. Then Vallabh Chandpu said, I also want massage. So then he started massaging one feet. I started massaging other feet. And then Prabhuji looked at us. He opened his eyes and he asked his wife, who are they? We are just like, she said, they're just brahmacharis. Yeah, come, He said, okay. And then he smiled, then looked around, and then he started gazing at Radha Madhav, and Kirtan was, building up, and started gazing, and he left. In the sense, gaze remained like that only. So hearing Kirtans and gazing at Radha Madhav, he departed. And when he departed, the Kirtans became even more tumultuous. It was so ecstatic. One of the best ecstatic kirtans I ever experienced in my life. And the mood was so amazing, very joyful mood, as if there has been a great victory. Like before coming to Krishna consciousness, I had experienced India defeating Pakistan in cricket. There was tremendous, like in my college days, I remember, tremendous patakas and this, that, great. So when I moment realized this celebration was even greater than that, and I saw his wife and daughters and everybody very joyful that Prabhu has gone back home back to God. And actually, Janyas Prabhu said he has gone back home back to God. And he was simple devotee. He was not a big leader in the Hare Krishna movement. And his service was to every book, proper book, in the back there is index. He was indexing it. His whole books, all proper books, he did indexing. So, it's very simple devotee, but till last breath he was Krishna conscious, and Janyas Prabhu said he went back home back to God. And so many other proper disciples were there. They also said he went back home back to God. And his family, yes, they were in pain, but they were also joyful. So relationship, devotional relationship, a little, no? There's pain also, but joy also, but it's based on proper knowledge and understanding. Materialistic person, when person dies, they think devastated. They're in very misery. And there's no hope. Hopelessness is there. So, yes, we may not have that such great realization, but at least we should have faith. Faith in words of Guru Sadhu Shastra. And we should have faith that if we chant Hare Krishna, if we hear Krishna Katha, if we offer prasad to the departed, they will get benefit, we will get benefited. And then it may be painful, so but by hearing transcendent sound vibration, gradually that pain will be tolerable, and then it will be acceptable. Otherwise, without understanding science of Krishna, without understanding science of soul, one may just get bewildered, one may get hopeless, one may get miserable. Okay? So we don't have to tell, don't cry, don't worry. Okay, let them cry. But chant Hare Krishna also. And hear some Krishna Katha. Do some Kirtans. Arrange Vaishnava Prasadam and all the things. They do spiritual activities, then they'll get some inner spiritual strength also. And whenever chanting of the holy names done, Krishna Katha is done, actually one that relieves the heart, the pain in the heart, because one experiences higher transcendental joy also. So not only pain is there, but then can be transcendent joy also. Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hare Krishna.